topic of your presentation at this year's conference, DIGGIT, was the best of digital world in 2017. So what was the best in digital world in 2017?
Well, as I said, the world is changing and marketing is changing, but not as fast as we tend to think. So all the trends we saw in 2017 and then trends we also see this year started already a while ago. But I would say that we increasingly see brands trying to do good for the environment and the society. And especially younger generation, they love brands that are not just selling or just doing business, but the ones are the brands that have some meaning or deeper purpose. And that's also something that is very much seen on digital level. So digital helps those brands to just communicate their message and be alive. What we see is that traditionally, in advertising, the agencies spent maybe weeks or even months of creating a perfect ad, and then this ad was shown to audiences. Nowadays we see that agencies create hundreds, maybe sometimes even thousands of versions of different ads, and they test them and they show different ads to different types of audiences. So we have a case study from Malaysia, for example, that was advertising KFC burgers, and they had a different pre-roll ad on YouTube depending on what type of content people were searching. So if somebody was searching a funny cat video, they saw a KFC burger ad related to cat topic, for example. So ads are becoming more topical and more relevant to those audiences. And finally, we see that PR and advertising are getting closer together in digital world. So very often the successful agencies, when they start working on a creative brief, traditionally the first answer to creative brief was a visual, maybe even a storyboard for a television ad. Now the first response to a brief is very often a press release describing the idea, and then the agency tests this press release on real journalists and see if this idea would fly or not. And if the idea would not fly on the media, then they just continue searching for a next one. So PR component in advertising is becoming increasingly very important.
So if I can summarize you're actually saying that digitalization allows a big change from one-size-fits-all approach to more segmented, more personalized approach that consumers will identify themselves more easily to.
Exactly, yeah. You see a lot of personalization, and this one-size-fits-all approach is kind of slowly fading away. However, we are still dealing with humans, and even though you can be a certain profile, let's say man in the 40s, 2 kids, university education, blah blah blah, it doesn't mean that you always act rationally. So you may sometimes buy something that is completely off your profile. So I think that this kind of a mass advertising will stay, but in addition to that, you will see more and more of this targeted ads and more relevant ads to certain audiences.
Would you say that 2017 was a pivotal year in any way?
No, not really. We didn't see any major breakthrough that year. I think as I said, all those trends that were there before just kept growing. However, we saw that some of the hype or some of the trends that were very big a few years back are somewhat disappearing. We didn't see much of a virtual reality. This was a very big hype by maybe 3 years ago. Everybody was talking about virtual reality, 360 videos. I don't see them that much anymore. So maybe it will take more for virtual reality to develop.
Maybe the time is not ripe for it yet.
Yeah, well, the problem with, especially with all those devices like these 3D glasses like Google Glass and Samsung had similar ones, is that they were launched in a quite early phase. And people who tried them, tested them, were a bit disappointed. So you get those glasses of virtual reality, you look at the movie and the movie looks crappy and slow, and then the enthusiasm goes away, and maybe it takes a few more years until the technology is good enough that the consumers would really enjoy the experience.
And to look a little bit forward, what can we expect this year? Just evolution, or can we maybe hope for some revolution?
Well, we see artificial intelligence getting better and better, and probably one thing that will become really mainstream is all kind of bots or chatbots in customer service. You see brands increasingly using robots instead of human beings in their customer service, and those robots are getting smarter and smarter. So probably for customers it means that there's no more waiting in line. So right now, if you call to, I don't know, airline, you may sometimes wait for a half an hour for an available operator. When chatbots, robots take it over, then you probably have instant customer service, and the customer service in many cases is not worse than the human customer service. And even I've seen research showing that those robot-based customer service agents get better feedback from the real customers. So because they never tire, you can talk to a robot for 8 hours and the robot still remains polite and friendly. Whereas if you annoy a human being with 8 hours of questions, then every human being, you know, will be pissed off and will not in the end be very friendly to you. So this is one thing that definitely will become bigger this year.
Okay, thank you for this conversation. Kiitos.
Thank you.